that the NBA, not regular season games, but playoff games were canceled when the Milwaukee Bucks started that trend and they refused to leave the locker room for their game 5 of the NBA playoffs, and then the rest of the teams that put a lot of pressure on the other games, and then the rest of the teams decided that they were going to postpone their games as well. And then you had we had professional soccer, Major League Baseball, other teams saying that they weren't going to play yesterday as well. So when I first heard this story, I said to myself, and this was my first reaction, and I think I was wrong, but my first reaction was, why are they canceling games? What good is this going to do to solve the issues that minorities face in this country? We already have the Black Lives Matter signs and the patches. We already got as much awareness as you're going to get. That was my first reaction. I just didn't understand. So what I did was I decided to talk to some of my friends who happen to be black. And I wanted to get their side because I wanted to understand. And I called a friend of mine. His name is Jamison Welsh. And he is an NBA reporter, and he's black. And I gave him a call last night because I wanted to hear from him because I was having trouble understanding. I really was. And he explained to me in detail why the NBA players are doing this. Now, listen, most people are like, oh, I know why they're doing it. They just want awareness and, blah, 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 blah. But it's more than that. And I said to myself, Jamison, will you come on our radio show today and explain to people what you just explained to me? Because he helped me understand. Because I didn't understand yesterday. And when I don't understand something, and I'm a white guy, and when I don't understand something, I want to hear from those people. And Jamison's a really smart guy. And, he's the kind of guy that I want to hear when it comes to these types of issues. And he's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. And I don't want to, paraphrase what he said. But he said, listen, this has a lot to do with a lot of the owners, a lot of the NBA owners that are very influential, that have a lot of money, that can help make change in this country. And it's not going to happen overnight. But if you put pressure on people, and this is where I really understood, if you put pressure on people that have boatloads of money that are nervous, because as you know, without these players, there is no NBA, then maybe change can happen.
And without no TV deal and fan support and advertiser dollars, there's also no NBA, Brian. It's not just the players. If the players created their own league with the owners and they didn't have widespread, nationwide, city-by-city fan support, there would not be an NBA.
Okay, so I understand, but the players are the ones that decided not to do this, and I'm trying to get inside the players' heads, and that's why I called Jamison last night. He's going to be joining us here in a minute. So the Milwaukee Bucks made a statement about the boycott. Sterling Brown and George Hill speaking to the entire team. So have a listen to this. I want to play you a little bit of this audio before we get to Jamison. Go ahead, Sean.
The past 4 months have shed a light on the ongoing racial injustices facing our African-American community. Citizens around the country have used their voices and platforms to speak out against these wrongdoings. Over the last few days in our home state of Wisconsin, we've seen the horrendous video of Jacob Blake being shot in the back 7 times by a police officer in Kenosha, and the additional shooting of protesters. Despite the overwhelming plea for change, there has been no action. So our focus today cannot be on basketball.
When we take the court and represent Milwaukee and Wisconsin, we are expected to play at a high level, give maximum effort, and hold each other accountable. We hold ourselves to that standard, and in this moment, we are demanding the same from lawmakers and law enforcement. We are calling for justice for Jacob Blake and demand the officers be held accountable. For this to occur, it is imperative for the Wisconsin State Legislature to reconvene after months of inaction and take up meaningful measures to address issues of police accountability, brutality, and criminal justice reform. We encourage all citizens to educate themselves, take peaceful and responsible action, and remember to vote on November 3rd on behalf of the Milwaukee Bucks.
All right, so there you go. That was that. And then moments later, of course, these games were supposed to be broadcasted on TNT, some of them anyway. Listen to Kenny Smith walking off the TNT set in solidarity with the players while live on the air. Listen to this.
And for me, I think the biggest thing now is to kind of, as a black man, as a former player, I think it's best for me to support the players and just not be here tonight. And figure out what happens after that. I just don't feel equipped to do that.
And I respect that.
There you go. So that's what happened. So joining us right now on the line is Jamison Welch from Drive Time Sports, as I said, a friend of mine for a while now, and he helped kind of shed some light to me onto why the players really did do this, and I wanted him to speak to our listeners about that.